So bike fishing really isn't something new. It's basically just combining fly fishing with biking. What I love about it is that it's not too serious. For me, the bike is a great tool for exploration, and more the fly rod is a great tool for exploration, for going down gravel roads and discovering new small unknown rivers. And it just makes sense to kind of combine both.
I used to think that fly fishing was about the dumbest thing ever. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and then eventually curiosity got the better of me. And after many years of sitting on the sidelines and watching, I decided